All in favour of Clay Morrow meeting Mr. Mayhem? Yay.
Nay.
And as Chib said, I'll go get the intro. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. There's your intro. It's season 5, episode 12. It's quite a purposeful episode in the Sons of Anarchy timeline because Clay Morrow is no longer affiliated to SAMCRO. He's out the door, but at least he left with his life.
Yeah, he didn't leave with his tats, he didn't leave with his patch or his cut, but he left breathing. And that's probably about the best outcome that Clay could hope for, considering all the shite that he's done. So, yeah, Clay, lucky man.
Lucky man, and here's 3 facts about this episode. Darthy means gift of God. Of course, that is the title of this episode, so I think what it means here is that Bobby gave him a gift, as in Bobby spared him because he voted nay. Like pie oh my. Fact number 2, it is the first time we've seen ink be blacked out live. Of course, we've seen that guy who belonged to Sam Taz with ink already blacked out, but this is when we've seen it actually get done in person. And live.
Did Kel get ink blacked out, or was his more burnt out?
His was more burnt out. Burnt to a crisp like a Sunday dinner. And fact number 3, last episode of Clay in the club. We did include a fact last episode that we had him, last full episode of Clay in the club, but here he is in the last episode. So R.I.P. to Clay's patch, but not R.I.P. to Clay himself. But we do begin the episode. Jax is writing in his journal. He's like, whatever happens today, sons, I will make you proud. But then he receives a rap at the door. Bobby says that before we go to Galen, we've some business to take care of. And he's like, Clay's here. He's going to hand in his patch. What are you doing, Bobby? Protecting this club, brother. Right, did Bobby job Jax out? Hit me with it.
I don't think so, no.
You think he did the right thing? Do you think Jax would have killed Clay? But he could still kill him.
No, he could, but
The club's made aware now.
I think Bobby done the right thing.
The ease Jax's pain. He knew Clay had this.
Not even Jax's pain, I just think Bobby made the right decision overall.
So you think it made sense?
I think for Jax it was too personal.
And he had to get Clay at the club.
Yes, and Bobby just thought, you know what, Clay can't be here. Jax can't rule the club with Clay sitting at the table. It's not going to work. There's too much history, too much beef. And I think Bobby just wanted to speed up the process and made a deal with Clay. You get out the club, you admit to everything, and I'll make sure your life is spared. And I don't really see that as a betrayal. I don't
See that as a betrayal? That's fair enough. Clay does pretty much lay everything out. He's like, I was lying in a hospital bed. I reached out to the nomads. Bobby then points out, attacking Unser at your house took the focus from you. Yeah, and Eli's old lady. Clay then's like, the real reason why I did this, it wasn't because of my greed and my pride. Well, it kind of was, but it's because I thought Jackie boy, he wasn't ready. But it turns out he was ready. And he was a better president than I ever could be. He could lead better than me. He's a better leader. I'll be in the garage. And then he gets up and leaves. Do we buy that for Clay? Is that him trying to win the sympathy vote? But you could also argue that he already knows that Bobby's voting nay. So
well, Chibs didn't buy it.
I'm not buying this good to the club bullshit. He's done. It's time to go. And I think it is time to go. I mean, let's say Bobby hadn't made the side deal. Bobby's voting yay every day of the week. And twice on Sundays, whenever this was voted, by the way. And we get to the Mayhem vote. Jax knows it's coming, though.
Is he, though? I don't think Bobby wants to see anybody really die. Does the history that Clay has at the club, does that not mean anything?
Well, what about the 10 guys he killed at the club? They don't mean anything?
No, I know, but there's no proof.
He's fucking just copped it.
Aye, but they don't know the real version of the whole Piney shit. They've got the Clay version that he's already copped to earlier.
Yeah, that's actually a key point, though. Why didn't... Do you think Bobby didn't get Clay to confessing to JT and Piney here and Tara? Because then if he voted no to that...
It'd make him look bad.
The rest of the club would have went, what the fuck? How can...
Yeah, but then again, Bobby doesn't know that, so...
Know what?
He doesn't know the reason why Clay killed Piney.
He does. Jax told him last episode. He told him and Chibs.
Oh, so he did, actually. Wait, was that this episode or...
That was last episode 11.
God, so Bobby does know.
That's why Bobby went to save to make a deal with Clay.
Is that not a bit of shite then? That Bobby knows that Piney has been killed, murdered essentially?
Yeah, Tara, JT as well. And he's just willing to let it slide.
Oh, maybe Bobby didn't do the right thing.
No, you can definitely see why Jax is pissed with Bobby here.
I've got my timeline mixed up. I thought Bobby knew that afterwards.
No. But Chibs didn't buy this good of the club bullshit. Bobby votes no. Chibs says he'll go get him, and then what proceeds a pretty badass scene here for Jax, because Clay's walking over. Jax just fucking grabs him. Batista bomb, spinebuster through the table, starts laying haymakers into him. Chibs, happy Tig. The whole gang can't get Jackie Boy off him. Bobby's looking in disgust. But what the fuck does Bobby expect Jax to do at this
But see,
point?
going into this vote, it's not really democracy. Not all the club know what Clay's done. Only Chibs and Bobby do. And obviously Jax.
Yeah, like Jax could have very easily went, well, you know what, pros and cons. He didn't cop to this shit. He killed JT. He killed Pyrie. He tried to kill Tara.
Should the club not know that before making a massive decision?
Absolutely. I think that... could you argue that's a plot hole, or is that Bobby trying to save face? I think it's incredibly cheap if Bobby's trying to save face that way, by the way. Just to add
But
that.
I guess Bobby's going to reason is that you never get Clay to admit to all that. So he just made the deal. Because like you said, you couldn't prove shit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that might happen that way, but Jax, he batters the shit out of Clay. Clay then gets patched up. Nero being very overly sympathetic here to a big Clay model. But
Symptomatic?
Sympathetic, that's the word we're looking for. Symptomatic, what am I on about, man? Did Jackie Boy deliver the beatdown to me? Probably did.
Jackie did.
Jax then meets with Pope. Pope tells him, well, if your club didn't want to kill Clay, how about you do payback by proxy? So pretty much, Jax's whole bring down of Clay was created by Pope. And Pope ends up being a part of that, which is interesting. They meet with the IRA. Galen's like, where's Clay, brother? Jax says, we voted him at the club. He turned in his patch this morning, big man. One more deal with the cartel, then we'll wipe our hands clean of them. Galen actually agrees to this, but Romeo and Juliet. Romeo did not buy this. He shows up. We get into a bit of a gunfight here. Jax actually saves Bobby's life, but the cartel come up on the upper hand. And then you could argue, why is Galen pinning this all at SAMCRO's doorstep?
I don't think you want to get in business with him in the first place.
He didn't, but he's almost... Yeah, the Suns are going to feel this on both continents. I mean, it's not like SAMCRO opened fire and killed your man.
No, but didn't the SOA say that this would be good for the Irish?
That was Clay.
Well...
Clay's not here anymore, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I mean, Galen's probably going to look well when Clay was here. Everything was in line. Clay steps down and all of a sudden... Cartel stepping out of control.
Cartel stepping out of control, but yeah, not exactly good here. Jax wants everybody on lockdown. He says, get Tacoma down here. Where was the Tacoma energy in the Mayans MC when Happy got shot? Nowhere to be seen, folks. That's where it was seen. Wendy is then able...
I wish they'd done a better job of fleshing out the Tacoma Charter. See, rather than
well, the guy that's in this episode is in the Mayans, to be fair.
Yeah, but see, rather than just whip out whenever something major goes down, get Tacoma down here. You don't actually like Tacoma to have a president and vice president with
Who
names.
is Tacoma? I mean, I'd like to know who Tacoma is.
Give a bit of character development to them.
Yeah, I would like to know that. But
I'd like to see Tacoma arrive and be like, alright, Jackson, good to see you, fella.
What, the Irish?
Well, they could be. I don't know, maybe they got patched in for Sam Bell. I don't know.
Could be. Anyway, Wendy's with Abel. Jax notices this. He's like, I'm going to scold you outside. She goes outside. She gets kidnapped. Who by? The IRA, brother. And they're leveraging Wendy's life. And Jax is like, they do know she's not my wife. And Nero decides, you know what, actually, fuck my uncle's farm. I'm going to give Jax 475k.
Because I'm an absolute idiot.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'll never get that money back.
Weird scene as well where Tig's like, nah, Clay, you have to come to the clubhouse. You're not safe here. You voted to have him killed this morning.
I know, why the fuck you care about his safety?
You flip-flopped over. But is that because Jax got Tig by the balls and he had the vote yes?
Yeah. Same with Juice as well, though. I'm not sure Tig and Juice vote yeah. If Jax hasn't got them by the nuts.
But then when Tig's speaking to Clay, you almost get the feeling that, like, he does feel that way. He's like, you earned that. So, what do you think?
I know, but maybe it's easier for him to be in that kind of mode. I don't know.
Maybe it is, guys.
Mindset.
The man-set player. But yeah, we've also got Gemma not to really do it. Well, I mean, Gemma pretty much did hee-haw this episode. Like, what did Gemma do this episode? He tries to patch up Clay, gets Clay patched up even though it's more Nero's doctor. Clay then tells Gemma, I'm not going to go to your house tonight. I don't want to get the ink over the sheets. And what a fucking mess that would be, by the way. But before we get into his ink tattoo removal, they get Wendy back. Wendy, I think, is a bit ungrateful here. Jax has forked out $500,000 just to get her back safe.
Yeah.
When he could have easily went, well, no, you know what, actually? Fuck you.
And Tara has just allowed her access to see Abel. And how does Wendy repay them? Basically by threatening them, saying that she's going to go alert the authorities, talk to them about Abel's kidnapping, talk to them about the kidnapping today, and basically take Abel away from Jax and Tara. Ungrateful here, I think, for Wendy. Could she be upset at the situation? 100%. I think that's justifiable.
She's also, I mean...
See when she starts whipping out threats and threatening to take Abel away from Jax, I think she overstepped the line there.
In layman's terms, she's essentially threatening to rat. Like, here, I'll give them information that he was kidnapped, and I'll get custody. And all that stuff. I mean, come on.
Won't be the first time she's ratted it.
Won't be the first time Drea de Matteo is ratted, but won't be the same outcome in Sons or Sopranos, based off your... Well, I mean...
Fuck it, this rate she'll have no fans.
Well, I mean, in The Sopranos, she's injecting stuff into herself. Well, I mean, I guess she's a junkie in both shows. What's she more of a... Nah, she's definitely more of a junkie in this. But she's redeemed herself at this point. Anyway, what does Jackie Boy do? I'll tell you what Jackie Boy does. He finds out US Marshal Torek threatened Tara. He gives the card to Unser. He's like, Otto just murdered his sister. And then what happens? Unser, he's got to do some police work. Because for whatever reason, he's hung up the badge, he's hung up the gun, and he's doing his best work ever to man. Clay, he wants to go to Belfast, and then what does Galen tell him? He said, you're the only American I trust, Clay. Spoiler alert, that was quote the episode. And you know what? The whole relationship between these two, I don't think Galen's lying. I think this is the truth. Because without Clay Morrow, do these gun deals even happen? No, of course they don't.
It would have been good to have seen Galen introduced though while Clay was prez.
He was.
Barely though.
Barely. See, every time you open your mouth, man, you're spouting something factually incorrect. Oh, Bobby didn't know he killed you. I did actually last episode.
I'll just shut up.
You just shut up, and shut up and just take the next scene. And Clay comes in, he cuts his fist off with his knife. He slams the knife into the fuck. He wanted to slam it into Happy's skull, didn't he?
I'd say so.
Filthy Phil sitting there with his arms folded, man, and Clay's just got to fucking accept this. This time's different. Like the time before.
Should Filthy Phil know have offered the proxy the tattoos and got his inked out instead?
Aye. What's tattoos has Filthy Phil got? A fucking mixing bowl? A Reaper's face on the wooden spoon?
Does Filthy Phil deserve a yay on Clay's life?
Obviously he's an actual member, so yes, but it's Filthy Phil, so I'm going to say no. I mean, the guy's a jobber.
I'm going to say no as well.
But I just can't take this scene. Well, no, I think it's a great scene, right? Don't get me wrong. But when it pans to this guy, it's like, really? You've got Jackson Chibbs looking on, Bobby, Happy, who's doing it. You've got even the Tacoma members looking place, don't even know any of their names. And then there's just this guy stinking out the fucking...
Phelan looks more in place, I think, because he's got a prospect patch on. And
no, but this guy's sitting with signed safety goggles on. What? Come on. Jackson leaves. He meets up with Tig.
Could they afford to ink it? His tattoos, though.
Because he's that fat.
Aye.
Might run out of ink before you get half of it done.
God damn.
Tig tells Jax that it's ready to shoot. We probably think at this point he's going to shoot Wendy. Turns out he's not going to shoot Wendy. He knocks on the door. He's like, I'm sorry about earlier. Gets in, finds out her roommate's not there. And what does Jackie Boy do? Throws up against the wall, whips out a big, junky, spoon-burning needle. And he's like, you ever threaten my family again, I'll fucking kill you, man. Pretty much along those lines. I'll say you're drugged out. He was never in Belfast. You're a junkie, and I demand a drug test. Inject it. Lethal injection. Spencer FC style. Lace a smackdown.
I mean, I don't think it was a nice thing for Jax to do, but I mean, I can see why he done it, because he was pretty much threatening into doing it.
Yeah. It's not like Wendy just wanted to be in Abel's life and he's went, you know what? No, and injected her.
Yeah,
she's openly threatening the club.
If that was the case, then that would have been unjustifiable. But the fact that Tara's allowing her some form of access, and then she is basically threatening the club and threatening to take Abel away from Jax, then I mean that's a line that you're kind of overstepping.
That's a
and
line in the sand you should not cross.
I just don't think Jax would allow anyone to take his son away from him. So, yeah, I think if Wendy's going to play those games, she's probably going to lose.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where we end. I actually think this was justified for Jax. He's not murdered her, right? At the end of the day, it's a scummy thing to do, but I would argue what Wendy did this episode was a pretty scummy thing to do after what Tara just did for you and what Jax did.
Plus, she needs to realise that she's a junkie. She's been in Abel's life for what, 4 years or whatever, however long it's been, 3 years. I mean,
if Abel wants to change his last name to bloody Knowles, then he can go ahead.
It's just not right though that she's come in and all of a sudden she's expecting it. You know what I mean? Completely downplaying what Tara and Jax have done, raising Abel, and just think she's going to come in and take him away from him. I don't. That's not going to happen.
I'm as sober as I've ever been, brother. Anyway, Wendy, inject it. I'm going to inject this episode with an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to get a 9. I think it's one of the best episodes in a while. Great penultimate episode.
8.5 out of 10. There you go. MVP, we gave it to Jax Teller. And I've just noticed something. Clay actually pinned Frankie Diamonds as the one who put the home invasions in motion. He was the one that came up with that idea. Even at the table, man, he landed it on Frankie.
He did, but I mean, Clay's the one that
executed it.
Yeah.
Who cares if Frankie suggested the home invasions? Anyway, guys.
Technically, Tig's the one that came up with the idea of killing off Hope.
Aye.
But Clay's the one that gave it the green light, so...
Give it the green light, brother.
When
anyway,
you're the president, that kind of shit falls on you.
8.5 out of 10. We were a week delayed this week, but guess what, guys? That just means 2 episodes this week, because tomorrow it is season finale time. Until then, peace.